Welcome to the Collector Cave, and today we are reviewing a holy grail figure for me, and that is a classic Iron Man in 1/6 scale by Hono Studios, which is owned by Hot Toys. So if you haven't, if you don't know about Hono, they're kind of an entry level. They call themselves entry level into 1/6 scale collecting. So the price is a bit cheaper. We'll talk about price with this guy because he's a little bit more expensive than other ones, but he does come with batteries and light up functions and things like that. But just check out that artwork. And for me as a kid, this is kind of what I grew up on. If I show you this right here, and if you watch some other videos with Iron Man, this is my original Kenner, or Mattel, I should say, Secret Wars Iron Man figure. And this is the very first Marvel figure I ever got. I still have him. Got him at Kmart as a kid. I remember still vividly the day I got him. I don't know why I picked Iron Man, but I did. And so this is what I equate. When I think of Iron Man, this is what I love to see. A classic look. And I know in the 80s, a lot of this was worn by Rhodey in and out when Stark was dealing with issues. But in this case, this is Tony Stark. We're just going to say that. One thing I don't like is driving me nuts. This happened with my Kang figure. And it's with any, I think, Hot Toys with batteries. There's this new warning label. Don't eat the batteries. All right, kids, don't eat the batteries. Adults, don't eat the batteries. Let me do this just to let you, see this. You can read it sideways. What I hate about this is it's right on the flip in front of this box. And maybe it is peel. I haven't, like my King, I tried, and I'm like, I don't want to rip the box. I get they have to have this because people are silly. But, man, why in the front right there? It's probably some sort of code or law they have to now. But anyway, I'm ranting. But this is a cool box. If you notice, it's kind of hard to tell on the camera, but this box is much taller than a typical Hot Toys box because these Hono Studio figures come with a backdrop to put a comic book in, which is really cool. I have the Magneto one. It looks great. It just won't fit in a Detolf, which is a bummer. So if you have Detolf, just know that you'll have to change the height of your stand there. And this is the side of the box here. Very simple. Actually, you can see part of his head. That's his eye right there. That's really cool. Look at that. And on the back, here is the figure. He comes with the two different masks. I prefer this look. I know this is more like the OG Avengers look, I believe. But if you look at this, one thing this figure has is silicone. Legs and arms, I believe. And I know a lot of people worry when that happens. And I'm a bit worried. It looks better because you don't see the joints, which is nice. I don't know what type of grade silicone this is, how it will last. If it's painted, I hope it's not painted because it will flake. So far, all the silicone figures I own, which is just a handful, I've had no problems. I've had like a Harley Quinn sideshow figure, no issues. So we'll see. But wow, check that out. Look at that Iron Man font. That is classic Iron Man. And then here is your legalese. This is intended for 15 years and up. Please read the directions before playing with your figure. There's some sharp points. Not for children 3 years and younger because of small parts. So there's your warning. And if I lift the box up a little bit, there you see information about Hono Studio, the UPC, the official Disney hologram. And then on the bottom and top, you get this, oh boy, I gotta pull my camera back. This box is so huge. You get the official Iron Man font. Check that out. All right. Now, these Hono Studio boxes open a little bit different than Hot Toys boxes. So check this out. A little Iron Man there. This the front part folds down. And I haven't opened this up yet, so here we go. Oh, this opens up here. Yeah, that opens up. And it talks about Hono Studio, which is really cool. Let me zoom in. You guys can pause and read that if you like. But yeah, I was real impressed with the Magneto, and I'm hoping I'm just as impressed with this Iron Man. Now, this is going to come out kind of crazy. Oh, wait. I got to move my camera. There he is. Oh, man. This box is nuts. Okay, I just want to show you guys. This is my first view of this. I see some scratches. I'm hoping it's in the plastic. Boy, he looks really good. That unibeam is really yellow. I believe this thing with the magnets or the batteries, it's magnetically operated. So you use the side pieces, these pieces that go on his hips, the discs, and you can touch like his repulsor hands and his unibeam and they'll light up, I believe. Yeah, pretty cool. And then the directions, and we'll look at it in a minute. The directions are inside, black and white, like you get in an old toy or old board game from like the 70s and 80s. Super cool. So let me get this guy kind of unboxed and we'll take a closer look. Okay, real quick. If you don't have an Iron Man comic, they give you one. Well, not a comic, but this is cardboard. You can cut this out and you can place this behind him in the comic book holder, which is a cool option. Unfortunately, you're going to cut the back of the box. I don't think you can cut this and not ruin your packaging. It would have been great if they gave you an insert that you could cut out and not cut the back of the box. I mean, I know they're saving money, but they could have given an insert. But I'm not going to cut this out, but just so you guys see, this is like, I think maybe the official first time he wore the suit. I can't remember. This comment looks very familiar. It says number 126. I'm guessing that's accurate. I honestly don't know. I'm not the biggest Iron Man buff in the world, but I have an affinity toward this armor just because of my childhood and this guy right here. So let me get this thing unboxed and we'll take a closer look. Okay, I think it's important that I show you guys directions because there's some very specific stuff. First off, it shows you what he comes with. Not a whole lot. You get 4 hands. Again, entry level. You get 2 countermeasure discs that go in his hips and then the 2 different faceplates. And then the comic book stand, plus the base for the figure to stand on. Now, there's some things here to notice. The eyes cannot be removed. This is what's a little bit more important here. Be careful moving the arms, otherwise the armor may collide and lead to paint fading or damage. I'm hoping they mean the red paint. I hope there's no paint on these arms. And it says the same thing here for when moving the chest. Don't rub to remove paint. And then down here, same with the boots. So it's nice that it's just not molded red plastic. They've actually painted it. It just means you have to take a little bit more care with it. And then it shows you how far you can rotate the elbows. Again, those are silicone encased arms there, so, or silicone on the outside. Shows you the legs there, 45 degrees forward, 25 degrees or 20 degrees back. Some articulation there, and then the leg movement, the legs do drop down, which is kind of cool. Over here, the discs, the countermeasure discs on his hips are magnetic, so that's pretty cool. And then you can take the faceplate. If you want to use the horn faceplate, you take off the countermeasures because I think he didn't have those when he was first introduced with that horn plate. Kind of old school Avengers look right there, right? And then it looks like the torso also extends. So Hot Toys has always been good with engineering their Iron Man figures. And we will do a comparison with one I have. But again, this is Hono Studios, owned by Hot Toys. So, okay, enough about this. Let's get into the figure. Okay, I thought I'd just give you guys a quick overview with him still in packaging. The silicone, as you can see, it's pretty squishy. And I do think it's painted. It's got some metallic in it. So, man, I got to say I'm real worried about this thing flaking over time. I hope it doesn't, because this is going to be one of my centerpiece figures. I just absolutely love this armor. Armor looks painted good. It's really awesome looking. There is some other directions, and that's for, I think, specifically the batteries. There's his repulsor blast hands, his countermeasure discs, and then this is part of the crotch grabber. They use a clear stand, and they use this as a crotch grabber. So no flight rod, unfortunately. That's one thing that they don't have with these figures. Let's get this guy taken out of packaging. Still something else to note real quick. They do give you these foam pieces, which really helps in shipping to not have these joints get chipped or to mess up the paint on them. So I'm glad they do that. I'm just going to spend a few minutes to get these taken off now. All right, and yet again, another warning about batteries. Don't eat them. And then light up function. So it just shows you how to put the batteries in. It's very similar to a lot of the other Iron Man figures. How to put those in. and then where the batteries go. It shows you the polarity too, which is nice. I like that they do that. So half the time I put batteries and I put them in wrong 50% of the time. So that's cool. And then to make them light up, you use the hip disc, the countermeasure disc to light up the hands. And the same thing for the chest. It shows you how to pop the unibeam reactor thing out, and then how to put the batteries in. Shows the polarity yet again. And then again, it's lit up by magnets. And the back just talks more about batteries. If you want to pause and read this, feel free. Obviously, if you're not going to be using the batteries, I suggest you take the batteries out because you don't want batteries leaking over time and damaging this figure. But here we go. Here is the Invincible Iron Man from Hono Studio and everything he comes with. And I got to say, he looks fantastic. I will say, I thought there's a lot more metallic red in this than I thought. I thought it was going to be more of just a plain red. And, you know, kind of like this Iron Man here. I also have the Mafex one and a Hot Toys we'll look at. I think I kind of would have rather preferred this than that. I nitpick though, because this does look good and it is painted very well. I will say I am worried about paint chipping on the arms. I think they are painted. The silicone is painted, and that worries me bad. I don't know how what's gonna happen in a year, 2 years, 5 years. Is this thing gonna flake? Is that paint gonna flake off? Is it gonna be all over your hands? Is it on my hands right now? Hard to tell. I don't think so. But I really worry about the paint on this figure. But it is what it is, all right? I mean, we'll see what happens. Entry level, so what does that mean? I was real impressed with Magneto. I'm so far pretty impressed with this guy. So he looks really good. I will say the masks don't match the arms exactly. They're a little off. Not a huge deal, but just not a complete match. But anyway, he comes with, this is the back here that we put the comic book in, and then it slides into that slot back there in the stand. There's the stand. Invincible Iron Man has a nice gold labeled sticker. I think it's a sticker. I don't think it's actually painted around the edge here. And then all that happens is this goes into here like so. It's kind of difficult. And then you put this on here. You have to use a little screwdriver to loosen it up, to lower it, to get where you need to go for him to sit on or stand on. We'll do that. We'll show all that. And then here is the accessories. Again, not a whole lot, entry level. There is the mask with the pointy mask. Looks good, not my favorite. I prefer what's on him right now. And then these discs are painted nice. They are also that metallic cherry red, I think, kinda. And then there's his hands. Take a closer look at his hands. Hands are really big, which is about accurate. And then there is the repulsor blast there, the arc reactor, whatever you want to call it. I think arc reactor became a thing with the MCU, right? But repulsor blast hands. And then here's the batteries. And I think it's LR52, something like that. The directions show what the batteries are. Yeah, right here. LR521, AG0. So we're replacing them because these batteries don't last long. There's 3 for each arm and then 3 for the chest. So let's take a look now at Iron Man and get a closer look at this guy because I think he is really awesome. I think I'm hoping there's no issues with him down the road. That's all I'm saying. But let's look at his eyes real quick. You can see his eyes in there. I like when it's just black slits, personally. But I get that the eyes, you can see the eyes is kind of accurate. And we'll pop this mask off and see what it looks like. It's going to probably, I don't think there's going to be a Tony Stark face behind here. It's just going to be eyes and look kind of like freaky. But that paint job, I will say the paint job is really nice. It is sharp looking. What a sharp looking figure this is. There's his back. Holy cow, man. It's very accurate. Very comic accurate to what he looked like. Man, The boot, I love the lines or the rings in the boots, in the gloves, in the underwear. I just love that look for Iron Man. Super awesome. Okay, now let me zoom back, and we're gonna go over articulation. I haven't done this yet, so we gotta be very careful we don't mess the paint up. But it looks like the neck and head move as one. Oh, the neck is separate, but as far down as it can go. So I'm only gonna push it to about there because I do not want that chin hitting that the neck piece. That is trouble. Looking up, not so much, not so much. So if you want him to be flying, that's what you're going to get. We might be able to arch his back a little bit, but that's about all he can look up, which isn't terrible for an armored figure, but I would have liked more. Head rocks a little bit. Of course, it turns. You can go 360 with his head. But yeah, not a whole lot. The arms do go completely 90. You just got to be really careful that you don't see right here, right in there. I can see where you can get paint chipping off. So you got to be really careful. When you articulate this guy, be very careful. I haven't done much. You're seeing what I'm doing for the first time. And I'm a little nervous, man. Is there a bicep swivel? I don't know, but you can see how much I can squish this silicone. The elbows are ratcheted. Not sure if you can hear that. And they go like almost 90. And that's what that looks like. A lot of times with silicone figures, it looks really ugly when the elbow's bent. This one looks good. It kind of retains its shape. So that is super cool that they've done that. Yeah, there's some good ratchets in those elbow joints, man. Wow. The shoulders do go up and down a little bit. So you just got to be real careful when you play with this guy that you do not rub any spot for paint to go on. Man, the upper chest has a cut. It can go back that far. So looking up, that's what you're going to get right there. Not a lot, but I think it's okay. Now I think we can pull this up. Let me try here. Yeah, you can pull the chest up a little bit to make him arch back a little bit further. But still, in a flight pose, which you're not going to get because he doesn't come with a flight rod. And honestly, this Iron Man is posed better without flight. He looks better like a strongman pose, something like that. We'll do a couple poses to show that. But once this is pulled up, you can twist just a little before the paint starts to, before you get maybe, messing with the paint here. You got to be really delicate with this figure, man. You cannot just go to town with him. The waist is a ball joint, but you don't really get anything out of it. Crunch is not good at all. Going back, that's about it. You can swivel his waist. It swivels pretty good. This is not really rubbery. It is a little bit. It's a little rubbery. It's hard to tell, guys, but it's a little rubbery, but not a lot. And I do have some damage right here already. Did that happen for me just now, or was it already like that? Right there. There's no way I could have done that. Maybe I did. I don't know. Maybe it came that way. I don't know, but that sucks. So right there. Ugh. Fortunately, it's in the back. But yeah, seeing that, as much as I love this guy and I couldn't wait to get him, I'm telling you, there is going to be major chipping and flaking issues with this figure, I think. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm so wrong and this thing lasts me until I die. That'd be great. Hopefully I don't die. The legs now do pull down one click. I'm not going to force mine. They say 45 degrees. That is all I'm going to go because I do not want to chip any of this paint. The knees are on ratchets that are really nice, and that's what that looks like when it's bent. You start getting a little bit of that uncanny silicone look, but it's not bad. It's better than most silicone figures. So there's that. Yeah. Nice muscle definition. Yeah, that's some good ratchets on this leg. There's a thigh rotation at the hip as well. And the feet, they're on ball joints. I'm a little worried because this left one is not as tight as I would hope it would be. As heavy as this figure is, I wish they were a bit tighter. And the bottom, there's no treads. It does say Hot Toys there. Look at that. Hono Studio 2025. Marvel. So there's the Hot Toys name. They got their name on this. Yeah, this is, and this silicone, it's not sticky. It's not sticky like you'd think of like some of the Batman figures. It's maybe a little tacky, just a little bit, but not terrible. Now, the directions do say, keep this thing out of heat and humidity. It will ruin your figure. It doesn't say it may, it says it will. So keep that in mind. If you live in a humid environment, you want to make sure you have AC in the summertime, stuff like that, you know. Yeah, whew. I like him a lot. I'm just afraid I'm not gonna play with this figure very much. I'll tell you that right now. In fact, I might just do a couple poses and that's it, because I'm really worried that I'm going to damage this thing while playing with them, which is sad, but also, I guess, okay. And then it's a magnet, and it works. Doesn't look the prettiest straight on. Hope I have it on right. I think I do. Yeah. From the side, it looks good. From the front, you can actually, if I zoom in, you can kind of see, you can see, and this opens up. I'm not sure why that opens. It just shows you the magnet. I'm not sure what that's all about. I have to look at the directions again. But this is appropriate. See, I've got a black speck on here, which I can't get off. It's not, there, I got it. Stuff definitely sticks to this figure, so just keep that in mind. Dust is going to collect if you don't have them in a enclosed display case, so keep that in mind as well. Looks really good, though. Now, I'm going to take his mask off camera for the first time. I just don't want to mess it up. So let me change the masks out. Okay, it wasn't too bad. I pulled from behind the chin on the mask, and as you can see, it's too bad they didn't give a full Tony Stark face. That would have been awesome, but it is what it is. But there's what he looks like. I mean, his eyes look good. I almost feel like this is a Tony Stark sculpt we had from the Invincible Iron Man that I'll show in a minute. It looks a lot like that. They just used the eye part of it. Okay, let's put the other mask on now. And there's a little plug right here in the masks, as you can see. It's not magnetic. It would have been cool if it was magnetic. There's a little plug, and that plug goes right into where the nose would be, that hole. All right, and there's that mask. And I do love the mouth in this mask. It's very Dr. Doom-like, and I love Doom. I mean, Jack Kirby, you know, I think originally drew Iron Man and Tales of Suspense. Is that what it was, I think? Something like that. So, he, you know, had that Doom mask thing going on. I can see why they chose Robert Downey Jr. To play Doom in the MCU. I'm not sure how it's going to turn out, but regardless, this is what the mask looks like. So I like that they give you the option. I prefer the other one, but cool that they gave you this option. And there he is. Let's try and do a couple poses. Okay, before the poses, I'm going to put the batteries in. And this arm gauntlet just slides right off. The hand pops off. And then you have to get a little small screwdriver to open that up and put the batteries in. So we'll do that on both arms. And I also got the chest pulled out. You pull from the bottom. There's a little like notch. I can show you guys. Little notch down there. You just grab your finger and it pulled out pretty easy. But inside you can kind of see the inner workings of this figure a little bit. Yeah. Let me get these batteries in, then we'll light them up too. Okay, and I forgot how crazy it was to put batteries in the wrists of Hot Toys figures. That took me forever, and personally, I'm not taking them back out. I'm not going to worry about it. I would not advise you to do that, though, with your own figure. Probably take the batteries out if you're going to store them or whatever, because they will eventually leak if you don't replace them or whatever. But man, that was a pain in the butt to get those in the wrists. I'm not going to lie. Just be careful. Take your time. You got to get yourself a mini screwdriver to open up these ports. But very simply, how these work, here is one of the discs that go in his hip. And you just open that up. And of course, it's not going to do it now, is it? Why would it? Why would it work while it's on camera? Boy, I'm having a hard time. Oh, there we go. Just like that. And these ones in the wrists turn off like that. So pretty cool how it's done by magnets. I haven't determined if they turn off by themselves. I thought maybe it did, because I thought I had this hand on while I was doing the chest and this wrist, and it was off. So it might be that it turns off automatically. But that is a pretty cool feature that seems to work pretty good. Did I have this on wrong, maybe? No. Yeah, so he can actually, you know, get you some pretty cool poses. It looks better in person than it does on camera, but that's a pretty cool pose right there. And his ankle ball joints do a great job of rocking to get a balance on there. That is really cool looking. Not the pose I'm going to do, but that's pretty cool looking. And the arc reactor, the unibeam, it's kind of like a, I don't know if the camera's picking it up right or not. That's definitely not right. Well, it's definitely more of a yellow. They're all yellow. They're all yellow, and they look pretty good. There's definitely a whiter light in the center. Not as big as the camera's showing, though. I guess that's kind of close to what it looks like. It's more of a, it looks really good. It looks good. Let's just leave it at that. So yeah, pretty cool. Let's try another pose. Okay, I didn't really do this pose the best. I'm getting kind of tired. This is a long interview or review. But this is kind of like one of the official poses that you see him do. It's one of the blogger shots on Sideshow's website, or any of the websites that show this figure's different poses. But yeah, pretty cool. I like the way that looks. Awesome stuff. And here's another pose, like he's up in the air flying. Well, you don't have a flight stand for this guy. This is kind of a pose you've seen him do before in the comics. Pretty cool. Yeah, I like this figure. There's another pose. You can do a lot of poses with this guy. Nothing really crazy dynamic, but you can definitely get some pretty cool poses. And the unibeam lit up and the repulsor hands lit up is a really cool feature. I do like that it's magnetic, and you don't got to take the gauntlets off to do an on-off switch, which is pretty crazy. Let's now choose a comic to go on the back of this guy. So I don't want to cut out the back of my box, so I have 4 options. I have 4 Iron Man comics from my childhood. I'm actually surprised. I thought I only had 1, but at some point I got these. I don't remember getting this one. This is from 1984, and it's actually a Rhodey. It's not actually Tony Stark, but it's a cool issue with Scarlet Witch, Termite, and man, Rhodey goes kind of nuts. That's probably the closest I get to Invincible Iron Man from what I have. Then I've got one with him and Ant-Man. This is from 88. And then I have this one where he teams up with Spidey, also from 88. And then this is what I remember the most from my childhood. I don't know why, but I thought Grey Gargoyle was a super cool villain when I was a kid. There was a Spider-Man and Captain America game, too, where Spidey fought Grey Gargoyle. So I might put this one in the back, and we'll show them off. Just for a little nostalgia blast, here's Grey Gargoyle. This is a nice 80s smelling comic. The papers wore away, and I think it's actually Rhodey. I don't think it's Tony Stark that's in this. I think it's, well, there's Tony right there. You know, as a kid, I guess I didn't really realize that Rhodey, James Rhodes, took over for Stark. But yeah, pretty cool. Let's get this thing put behind him. Okay, and that's how it's supposed to look with the comic behind him. Honestly, the comic you can't see much because the figure is so predominant in front of it. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And again, this will not fit in a detolf. It's too tall. I think it's like 16 inches tall. It's very big. But you can get 2 of these side by side in a detolf, just so you know. But yeah, pretty cool. Let's do some comparisons. All right, and this is the Invincible Iron Man that came out about a year or 2 ago from Hot Toys. Was limited to 1,500, which really sucks. It's a lot of his die cast. I'm so glad I got it. I happened to log into Sideshow that day, and because I wanted it, and I was able to secure it. I did a review early on in my channel. This is one of the very first reviews I did, if you want to check it out. It all lights up as well. And honestly, at the time, I thought this was my Holy Grail Iron Man figure because it's like classic, but it's not as classic as this one by no means. I hate that Hot Toys did this little line work here. They made it like an MCU thing. I don't know why they did that. They should have just been a black slit for the mouth. I still love this figure, don't get me wrong, but now this Hono Studios one, boy, I do like the red on this one better though. This is like that cherry red. This is what I thought we were going to get with this. Although many people will probably say this looks better just because it does look good. The paint job is excellent on this figure. I do strongly worry about paint chipping on the silicone thighs and arms and paint chipping off of this. I already have a damage in my back that I showed you earlier. So here they are on their stands. Obviously they're taller. Let me see if I can do a measurement for this Iron Man, this Hono Studios Iron Man. Let's see what we get. He comes in at like 12.5 inches. And then the Hot Toys one comes in at 13. So the Hot Toys one is about a ½ inch taller than the Hono Studios. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. Yeah, this looks really good. All right, and here's my classic Iron Man setup. I'm not sure if I'll display them in the cabinet. I think in the detail, if I could get both these side by side, and my two little Iron Men. This is my Mattel one. And then this is Mafex, which is a really good figure. Really awesome figure. Yeah, see, I like this cherry candy apple red, I think they call it, better than the metallic red. But it's okay. I would have preferred this to look candy apple red, like this one, and then yellow arms, as opposed to the metallic. But I think this is actually closer to the original comic version. I'm just used to seeing that it really, this looks cheaper. It does look cheaper. This is not painted, that's not painted. It's all plastic and die cast. Whereas this guy is painted. So is that a good thing or bad thing? This is gonna last longer, won't chip. This is gonna chip if I play with it a lot. So let's just wrap this thing up. Sorry, one more comparison. And this is the other Hono Studios figure I own. The only two I think I'm going to get, and that's Magneto. And I reviewed him. I absolutely love him as well. And these two would go nice side by side in a DTOF as well. Fun fact, with the original Secret Wars figures, the Mattel ones, on the back they came with a little comic strip you could cut out, and these two were fighting each other. Which is pretty cool because, I mean, obviously Magneto, master of magnetism, could give Iron Man all sorts of trouble, right? So even these guys side by side. If you have a taller cabinet display, like not like a DTOF, you could fit with the comics in. That would be super cool. Savage Lands comic, Jim Lee. Let's wrap this up. So is this Hono Studios Iron Man figure worth it? Well, one of the caveats of Hono Studio was they were going to have a cheaper price point because they're entry level. I think that Magneto was $175, I think, which isn't bad for a 1/6 scale figure that's in great quality, in my opinion. I think this is really good quality as well. I worry, like I said, about the paint and the paint on the plastic, the red as well. Something's going to chip on this or flake, I think, over time. We'll see. Time will tell. But this guy was substantially more money. He was $215, which is still below Hot Toys price, especially now. I pre-ordered this guy over a year ago, I think. So for $215, and then of course, you know, their shipping's crazy. $25 shipping for me on this. And I got an $8.60 tariff surcharge, which is yay, awesome. So at the end of the day, this thing came to $261 for me, with shipping, tax, tariffs, all that fun stuff. So is that worth it? Well, you might say no. I'm worried about the paint. I'm worried about chipping. I already have chipping on the back of mine, right out of box. So for you, that you might say no. For me, I'm still happy to have them. I'm not going to try and return them. I'm okay with that in the back. I'm not going to see it. Just know you got to be really careful with this guy. But dang, does he look awesome or what? Let's light that chest reactor up, arc reactor, whatever you want to call it, unibeam. I prefer unibeam. Let's just kind of do a once over real quick. Yeah, a fantastic looking figure. And you can just see his eyes. Man, that looks really cool. Look at that. Yeah. So I'm happy to have him. It's worth it to me. This is a Grail figure for me. I seem to have gotten a lot of Grail figures this year, and I still have Doctor Doom coming. That's like the ultimate Grail figure for me. So man, I'm happy. I don't have as much this year as I have in past years, but what I've gotten, I've really been pleased with for the most part. And I can't wait to do an end of year review on my top 10 or whatever I'm going to do, because there's been some really good figures this year. So let me know what you guys think. This is a long video, but again, this is a Grail figure for me. I like to talk about nostalgia on this channel, not just a figure review. You can watch these anywhere, and that's fine. I like to go a little more in depth with stuff so you guys can make a educated decision on what you want to do if you want to get this. Now, I will say he's not available right now. He's on wait list on Sideshow. I order my Hot Toys and Hono Studios from Sideshow. I know there's other places, but I deal with the shipping charges I get from them. You know, they give you rewards points that pretty much pays for shipping sometimes. But if you want them, I would say jump on that wait list right now. You may get fortunate and get them. But yeah, overall, I'm excited. I am worried about the future with this figure. I'd be curious to know what other people are saying. I've watched a few reviews, but it's so early on. I don't think anyone has really had any paint flaking yet, so we'll see. The silicone seems to be good. I don't think that's going to be a problem. And when you bend the elbows and joints, it doesn't look bad. A lot of times those silicone figures look bad when you bend elbows and knee joints, but this one doesn't. So that's a bonus. But it is a sticky magnet. It's not sticky, but it's a dust magnet. I've already got stuff sticking to it, and it's hard to get off. So keep that in mind. When you get this guy, I would say play with him for a few minutes like I just did. Pose them the way you want them. Put them in a dust-free shelf and just look at them and be happy you have them. So until next time, this has been Hono Studio, the Invincible Iron Man. Thanks for watching.